Hi everybody, this is TJ Burns and this is week 4 of the 6-week free memoir course, Your Story Matters. I am a writing mentor and the author of this book, Writing Wild, Crafting the Pagan Memoir. If you'd like to know more about my books or this free course, please visit my website at writertjburns.com. Okay, I have a little learning example for you this week that I hope you can get a laugh out of. Uh, I have been recently trying to teach myself how to use this little Doombeck drum that I inherited a few years back. I'm not a drummer. I'm not interested in becoming a professional drummer. I just would like to have fun with my little drum, maybe drum with a few other people. I don't know, just explore and have fun. Well, here's what I have learned so far. Okay, that's not a lot, but I learned the 3 basic beats. Doom, tekka. Those are the 3 basics on a little Doomba. And from there, once I get experienced, I can explore, I can create, I can innovate and make my own beats, but I have to learn those basics first, right? I have to get good at them and repeat them over and over. Okay, so there's your writing lesson. By week 4, I've noticed that people start really losing interest in their writing project, and it starts to get hard. Well, we have to keep going. We have to keep doing our little drum beat that we're familiar with and keep going so that we can get to the point where we are confident enough and skilled enough to explore and innovate and initiate in new and more exciting ways. So we're more than halfway done. Stick with it, and you're going to have some really good rhythms going by the end, I promise. So this week in our material, we are talking about the spine of your memoir. And the spine is just like the spine that runs down our back. Every story needs one to be able to stand up and move. Spine is just another word for the term outline uh, or arc. Arc is a literary term that some of you might not be familiar with if you're new to writing, which I know some of you are. But even though you might not be familiar, you know instinctively what it is. And I am talking about arc with a C at the end, not an arch that has 2 equal legs, but an arc that comes up and ends. Almost every book you've ever read, every movie you've ever seen is organized in a way that introduces the characters, puts those characters in a difficult situation, makes the situation even more difficult, and then things get worse and worse and worse and worse until the action reaches a peak and something has to happen to break that forward moving climbing tension, and that's the peak of the story. And then after the peak, the action breaks, some of the loose ends get tied up, everything is solved, and then it's the end. All the while these events are happening, they're usually also moving forward through time. And that's a place where your spine is really going to help you. Tension creates interest. We have to have tension in our memoir somewhere. A collection of sweet little stories about someone's perfect childhood just isn't going to be interesting to read. We like sweet, but we need a little sour and salty in there to help us appreciate the sweet. That doesn't have to mean that you have to march out all of the dirty laundry in your family, or that your memoir has to be full of dark and sad and scary and trauma. It doesn't have to be like that. Your memoir can be funny and light and bright and inspiring, but it still has to build tension in there somewhere. In week 2, I used the example of writing a memoir on the topic of grandma with the theme of grandma showing her love through cooking. So how would a sweet little memoir on such a non-controversial theme possibly have tension? In some cases, you do have to look deep, and that's going to be your challenge as a writer if you're writing a memoir that is more light and sweet and funny. Maybe grandma's stove broke down one Thanksgiving and her whole dinner was ruined. Or maybe grandma's peach cobbler calmed the tensions in the family. Or maybe grandma and grandpa got in a fight every time grandma made pot roast because she didn't do it the way his mom did it. Whatever it is, somewhere in there you have to find some moments of tension that you can create a spine with to move the action ever up and forward in your story. No matter what the subject of your memoir is, you want the readers to be engaged. There has to be moments when they wonder what's going to happen next. And when I say readers, I realize that we might only be talking about a few readers, a few family members, a few friends. But that's okay. That's not what matters. We want to write the best possible story we can, no matter who we think is going to read it in the future. Now, I usually don't like trying to use movie examples when I'm talking about writing. But one film that almost everybody I've ever met has seen and can relate to is The Wizard of Oz. And it is a great example of a story arc because it uses a classic heroine's journey storytelling to it. So we start with Dorothy, who's having a bad day. She's in trouble about her dog. Then she comes home and she's in trouble some more. Then there's a hurricane, and that's pretty exciting. That starts amping things up. And she accidentally kills a witch and lands in this mystical, magical, fantastical place that nobody's ever seen before. And she meets a talking scarecrow, and a wicked witch is after her, and things keep getting worse and worse and worse for Dorothy as the story goes along, until our interest is really, it's so high, the tension is so high when it's time finally for Dorothy to kill the witch and steal her broom. And that happens and the tension breaks and there's relief and we know that things are going to be okay. We still don't know how the story is going to end, but that building of tension has been released. And then it doesn't take very much longer. The tension starts to descend and the wizard is revealed to be a fraud, and everybody gets their heart and their brain and their trip home, and the loose ends are tied up, and we're all very happy. And so that's an arc. One leg of the arc is going to be much longer, that's the building, ascending tension, than the other leg, which falls short after the point of climax. Now, your memoir probably isn't going to have the same dramatic tension as The Wizard of Oz. If it does, I can't wait to read it, I'll tell you that. But still, the formula for writing a good story with a good spine is still the same. Think about it in the same terms. Think of it in the same grand terms as The Wizard of Oz. Where is your introduction? Who is the main character? What are the obstacles the main character has to overcome? Where's the climax of the story? Do you tie up the loose ends? If those basics are covered, then your story will have a spine that gets it able to stand up and move forward, and it will be interesting. So that's it for the week 4 lecture. Go practice your drumming or writing, as the case may be, and until I see you next week, go write wild.